So yeah, this is a good
They all
card,
have belts too.
huh?
They all have belts
Yeah, they're all
'cause
they're
they bring the belts to the bringer of belts.
so so this card, it feels like a good card without a home.
It feels like a card that it plays it so differently. The deck that wants to attack with three creatures pretty quickly, I don't know how interested they are in spending their turn to make one token. It's nice to have, don't get me wrong, but
It is like adding a mana though as well. It's giving you a little bit of like
it
ramp.
certainly is. I will say I think there is at least one home for this deck, and it's probably if there's any version of the horse deck. Still running
Oh,
around.
okay, yeah, sure.
I know that deck was also an Eldrazi deck for a long time, so it's losing its. But this was a Sunmare,
Crested Sunmare.
This card makes a 1/1 lifelinker, and then creates a land that gives you a lifelinker that you can just run into combat and trigger to get more horses. And I will say, I think it probably combos pretty well in that deck. So,
I mean, vampires need horses, I guess.
And
don't you wanna ride it?
So yeah, fair enough, and maybe and potentially the this Ketcha's Monument deck that we're building in our head could want
Also,
this.
also might want this.
yeah, this one seems like maybe the weakest payoff, I guess, for like maybe I don't know.
I will say that there's plenty of decks that we've already seen. The blue-white, approach deck, the blue-black control deck. Those decks do not do well with 1/1s.
Okay,
It's
that's
like
fair.
the blue black deck that we remember Adrian Sullivan won top 8 of the Pro Tour, like literally, or won the Pro Tour. No,
Top 8.
top 8. Okay, like, that was a deck that was so weird because if you could slip in like a couple 1/1s and 2/2s in against it, you could just take them out with that deck. So I will say this is the kind of card that against a number of strategies is deceptively powerful.
And I will say this: if you're kind of worried about flipping this, I played with enough Kithians in my day that it's not very hard to flip this.
I mean, Kithian had a lot of support back in his day when he was in his
Well,
prime.
that's true, but I mean, this also makes a
Gideon
creature.
was never. He was a child. He was a child, Gideon. He
Right.
killed all his friends.
Accidentally.
His hubris.
He learned. I guess, I think. I don't
He
know.
feels guilt all the time. He didn't learn anything. He learned sadness and despair.
We gotta learn sometime. I don't know what to tell you.
Done got learned.
He grew up fast. All right. Let's move on to blue.
So blue, we're going to start here with Chart a Course, which is a card I just absolutely love.
I thought we were going to start with cancel. Cancel's back.
Cancel that. Go to chart a course.
All right, start a course.
This is a generic and a blue for a sorcery. Draw 2 cards, then discard a card unless you attack to the creature this turn. And we're going to talk about a lot of blue cards here, obviously, because that's the color we're in. But I do think that this set has managed to do something with blue that we haven't seen before. Blue wants to attack. And it wants to attack in a way that feels natural. The only other time you could say oh, well, Delver of Secrets, but that wasn't really blue attacking. That was a tempo deck that also had, it got to play.
That was like one card.
Yeah, I got to play Restoration Angel. But the only other deck I can think of that was like blue creatures attack was the Illusions deck that existed in M13.
Yeah, something like that.
Well, I mean, you've had like Merfolk
Phantasmal
throughout.
Lair.
Like,
Yeah,
Merfolk.
the
When's the
game.
last time Merfolk was actively, I'm thinking standard playable?
Yeah, you've had illusions. You've had like this is way old school. The Blue Skies back in the days of like Fires of Yavimaya.
Yeah, that's so. This is, but they've done it, I think, in a successful way. They gave it, they sort of, we're going to talk about things like Spell Pierce and Opt, which of course, wet the whistle for players who want to look at blue this way. But this card is really powerful. Like this is a powerful draw spell, and if you're doing what blue wants you to do already, which is attack with these small pirates, then you're getting a real payoff card that also, for a lot of the cards, things like Riddle Form, which we saw in the last set, anything with Prowess, this will do a lot of things to trigger that as well. So I really like this card. It's one line of text that discard a card unless you've attacked really does a good job at selling you what blue is doing in this block.
And it's not like completely embarrassing if you just have to run it out on turn
Sure.
2. Say if you need to hit lands or whatever. It's not the worst thing ever, though. Obviously, you'd prefer to not have to discard the card, but it's not the end of the world if you do.
Yeah.
All right. Next card we're going to talk about, it's a rare creature. It's a Daring Saboteur. It's a 1 and a blue for a 2/1 human pirate. It has an activated ability of 2 and a blue, can't be blocked this turn. And then whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card. So 2/1 for 2, has a loot ability if you hit them, and has a way to, maybe later in the game, you can sink your mana into this and, guarantee that it
Gets in.
isn't blocked.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think it's a nice role player for any, pirate deck.
Yeah. If the C is your favorite letter, this might be a card for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing much more to say. I mean, it's not like a super exciting card, but I think it's a fine role player.
And again, it's doing what
Yeah,
Blue wants
it tells
to
you.
do.
Yeah, it tells you what you want, what you should be doing, which
tells
is
you what
attacking.
you want, what you really.
Attacking and looting seem to be the central focuses.
Oh,
on the
weird.
Pirates.
Pirates on attack and then loot.
Yeah, it's
God,
weird.
The flavor.
I know.
Next up, we have switching tribes here real quick. We have Deep Root Waters, and this is 2 generic and a blue for an enchantment. Whenever you cast a Merfolk spell, create a 1/1 blue Merfolk creature token with hexproof. So if you've noticed here, each of the tribes has their own actual token. The pirates get 2/2 menace tokens. The vampires we said have lifelink tokens. Dinosaurs get 3/3 tokens of trample. Merfolk get 1/1 hexproof tokens. I don't think this card will ever see play. So Dave, why'd you put it here?
Because you guys are talking about a catcher's monument like it's like the best thing ever. This is
Yeah, but
it's not the
Monument
same
is-
thing, but it's similar in a Merfolk deck.
Sure.
I mean, if it turns out that the Merfolk deck wants to swarm, I think this is perfectly.
So I see
I
what you're
think they
saying.
would
Maybe that's
school,
true.
not swarm. To be fair.
Yeah. Okay, that was pretty good.
There you go. That's one for you. I guess so. I think that, and again, we already talked. Merfolk is a tribe that seems to suffer here a little bit. Dinosaurs and pirates feel more fleshed out for decks in Ixalan, whereas Merfolk and vampires seem to be. You could play blue green Merfolk, but you're playing a lot of you're playing a lot of the explore commons and uncommons that you're hoping are good enough, and I don't know if they are. Maybe this is the blue Oketra's monument. Maybe it is, and maybe I'm just not seeing
Yeah,
it.
that's the only reason. Like, I think if Oketra's monument didn't exist and we didn't already see that be like a pretty good constructed card, I wouldn't even think about this card.
Sure.
But because of Oketra's monument, like, maybe I can see it.
Again, against control decks, making one with hexproof.
Yeah, hexproof's annoying.
It is a kind of thing where you just actively can't interact with it sometimes. So maybe.
That's all I'm saying. I mean,
No, I'll give you a strong maybe.
yeah. All right. Let's see. Dreamcaller Siren.
Which, by the way, Dreamcaller Siren sounds like the kind of name that this art's gonna look nice. Oh God.
Oh,
Why?
why are you like that? Nightmare Caller Siren, more like it.
Dreamcaller Siren. 2 blue for a 3/3 flash flying Siren pirate. It says can only block creatures with flying. Whatever. You're not blocking with this thing anyway. And when it enters the battlefield, if you control another pirate, tap up to 2 target non-land permanents. I don't know if this one will end up being good enough, but flash flyers are always worth a look.
And it's pretty tempo-y. The ability to let your attackers playing this at the end of the turn to tap something down, or if you're just racing with your little flyers, this also turns the speed of a race by a turn, and that's I think it's pretty close.
Yeah. This feels like they might have originally just had tap 2 permanents, and then it was just time walking people too much. They're like, okay, we can't have tapping lands.
Yeah. I think it's compare this to something like Dungeon Geists, which saw a ton of play when it was printed. And this card, does not work on the same full access. It doesn't keep it tapped down as long as it's in play. But the same mana cost to get a turn out of your tempo deck, it feels close.
Yeah. Again, like a 2 or 3 color pirate deck is probably not going to play this, but maybe if mono blue pirates is a thing, this is another card that interacts with your pirate synergy. So
Sure. We're going to talk about Jace Cunning Castaway next, but I do want to make a quick pause to talk about a card we didn't have on the list, but having been messing around with some lists and what I've seen in the wild so far, Herald of Secret Streams is a card that you may want to pay attention to. It's a blue and 3 generic for a 2/3 Merfolk Warrior, and it says creatures you control with +1/+1 counters on them can't be blocked. So again, all the green Merfolk are focusing on Explore, which gets them counters. There's also the green Merfolk that puts 2 +1/+1 counters on Merfolk that you control.
Yeah.
And there's a little card called Verder's Gearhulk that this ramps into.
Oh, hey.
You play this on, you go creatures on 2, 3,
Yeah.
and 4, and then you play Gearhulk, and then they're unblockable. And I've seen this in action already. I'm not saying it's great, but it's the kind of card that we have experienced in your cube, Dave, of playing the counters deck and then playing Abzan Falconer, and your opponent just dies. This is definitely a way to get through board stalls. So I don't. 4 mana for a 2/3 is a miserable it doesn't do anything by itself. So maybe it's not good enough. But the synergy is there to make this card playable.
Yeah, I think that's the problem, or probably the reason why I didn't put it on. It just feels like a lot of the Merfolk cards, like you can obviously see the synergies, but they all feel like just overcosted by like 1 mana.
Yeah, I agree.
Like they're
with
just
you.
slightly not.
I don't
there.
blame them. Explore is a weird mechanic to effectively cost, because like for some creatures, if you cut the mana cost by 1, but they are consistently getting a +1/+1 counter, then they're way above curve for their rarity slot.
Yeah.
And so I agree with you. It feels weird.
I think like with Explore, and we haven't even gotten to an Explore card worth talking about yet, but I think with Explore, like you'll notice a lot of the creatures seem overcosted.
Yes.
But I think they definitely erred on the side of like, all right, well, if we do make them too cheap, then it's going to be like broken.
Right.
You know what
Yeah,
I mean? So
absolutely.
it's just like we're just going to make them maybe 1 mana more where they should be, just in case.
Yeah, and you can see the ones where it does feel like there's the green one that's a 2 mana 2/1, right?
Yeah, I like that card.
That's
I think
an
that's
uncommon, like for
I think it's
drafting
good, yeah.
purposes. So like they're telling you how they feel about the mechanic. So anyways, I don't want to spend too much a ton of time with this, but it is a card that might blow you out sometime. Just throwing that out there. So Jace Cunning Castaway is a generic blue for a 3 loyalty planeswalker, legendary planeswalker. Don't forget, we've got that fixed.
Yep.
Jace. +1, whenever 1 or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player this turn, draw and then discard a card. -2, create a 2/2 blue illusion creature token with when this creature becomes the target of a spell, sacrifice it. And then -5, you make 2 copies that are Jace Cunning Castaway.
Yeah,
Put
they're
them in
not
play.
legendary.
They're not legendary. Obviously, you get to keep both of them.
Yeah.
So
We haven't seen they haven't.
There's no Jace
they-
There
token.
is
didn't
not
make
a
a
token,
Jace token?
unfortunately,
No.
which I'm really sad about.
It's disappointing. You'll just have to find your own, man.
I
Like-
just give it a week, and I'm sure RK Post will have some real sweet ones.
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
So
I mean, we talked about this card, I think, before, and it's a weird Jace. And if there is a blue deck that wants to be attacking, which Pirates heavily leans towards, then I think like that deck will definitely find a home for this Jace. But it's not just it's typical current Planeswalker design where it's not just a wholesale powerful card. It is something you have to sort of build around. And for 3 mana, that's kind of what you want your Planeswalker to do. I think the last one that kind of went against the grain with that might have been Liliana, the Last Hope. She might have just been wholesale powerful. But even then, like, she had her limitations, just the way that this card does. So
I mean, she actively didn't see much play for the last year of her legality and standard after they got rid of.
Zombies
Emrakul.
was the only deck that really played her, and that was out of the
I
side.
think when we saw this card, we saw it pretty much without context of the format. And I think based on how blue looks and how blue pirates work, I think this card is pretty good. And I think you'd be surprised at how quickly, when you look at things like the draw spell we already talked about, and Daring Saboteur, and then Jaces that are easy to. It is very easy to ultimate this Jace. I want you to understand it's very, very easy to. And when you start getting so many of those triggers, then you end up playing against a tempo deck that always has a spell in
Always
hand.
has something.
Like, it always has a spell. They've got to filter through so many cards that they're always going to have a spell. Now, whether or not those spells are good enough, if playing Spell Pierces and Unsummons is good enough, it has been historically, I'll say. It could just be the creatures that aren't good enough, right?
Yeah.
But I think this, I still have dreams of this card and Sky Plunderer, the one
2/1 flyer.
the 2/1 flyer that can add a counter when it deals damage. Oh man,
And that was a pirate too, right?
it is a pirate as well.
So maybe that one Plains walked away. He found the City of Gold.
Yes.
Yeah, and from Kaladesh.
There you go.
Yeah.
I will say, I think that card is it Daring Sky Plunderer,
Something like
I think
that.
it's just Skyship.
or is it
Plunderer.
Skyship Plunderer? Is that what it is? Okay.
It's in my cube. I don't know.
Yeah.
I should
Well, there's also a card we're going to talk about a little bit here that has Raid that gets a counter if you've attacked, and those two cards also work pretty well together.
Yeah.
So I think obviously it isn't a surprise that they nestled a couple of pirates in Kaladesh because we knew we had Sky Pirates, but it is kind of cool to be like, oh, look at this. You guys are friends.
Yeah, pirates always get along no matter what plane they're on.
A pirate is a pirate is a pirate.
It's a pirate. It's the code, man.
Yeah.
Yo ho.
So next up is Kopala, Warden of Waves.
All right, Kopala, Warden of Waves. It's 1 blue for a legendary creature, Merfolk Wizard. It's 2/2. It says spells your opponents cast that target a merfolk you control cost 2 more to cast, and abilities your opponents activate that target a merfolk you control cost 2 more to cast, or 2 more to activate. So this is a card that, like, I've seen a lot of people say, hey, a lot of the modern merfolk decks play
Kira.
Kira, Great Glass Spinner, and now you can play actual merfolk in that slot. I don't know that's actually better than Kira.
So
some
Kira,
advantages, but
so like Kira is like all creatures, right? Or is it just
all your creatures?
right? So even if you target your creature, that still goes off, right? Or
Yes,
is it
if
the
you target it,
shield?
it gets
Yeah.
countered. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like that is like a weird like caveat situation. Obviously not being just like a straight sort of like, counter is a disadvantage. But this does get buffs and can give, Kira has flying, so Kira still has evasion. This guy can get island walk theoretically. Yeah, that's a tough call in all honesty. Like that's one of those things where I would probably have to like just try it and see if there's any difference, or maybe like do a split like of 1 and 1 and see what's what.
I've never played Merfolk, but I've played against it a ton, and
Kira's
Kira
really
is
good.
pretty much a blowout.
Kira's really good.
The thing is, like, about Kira, it's always going to be a 2-for-1
Yeah.
for the most part. It's not really going to get involved in combat. So you're going to have to like typically use 2 spells to get rid of. Sometimes you'll have something, maybe I don't know, is it static cast or as a way to break the shield before you cast a spell?
Yeah,
but typically
I can construct corner cases. I think of, in my mind, something like your opponent played Primeval Titan and got 2 Valakut triggers, right? Well, now they can kill a Merfolk, but they actively can't kill something with under Kapala because they won't have the mana to pay for it at that point. But these are narrow situations. I will say, if you're playing Smuggler's Copters in your Merfolk lists, then Kira's probably better.
Yeah.
Because it affects your protects your copters as well. But if you've ever played against something like Frost Titan, that 2 mana thing it's not a joke.
Yeah,
it
it looks innocent right there, but then when you play against it, you're like, man, this is
because
such a
it's still
blowout.
like this card. You may say, "Oh, what's on that?" You still have to definitely go after this card first, and you want to be able to still play your game, but you can't if everything that you're at minimum costs 3 mana to do something. So I agree. I think it is difficult in a bubble. I think Kira probably is definitely.
On
Yeah,
wholesale, just better.
But they take up kind of the same slot.
Yeah.
Like the same, I guess, job in the Merfolk,
Yes.
which is just protecting
But
you.
again, this getting buffs and Island Walk is a thing. In Standard, I think this card is going to be very playable.
Yeah.
If Merfolk is a thing, this card is a powerful Merfolk for sure. So.
Yeah, it curves into the one that makes all your creatures with +1/+1 counters unblockable. All your Merfolk, I guess.
Yes. Well, no, it's all creatures.
Oh, it's just all
The
creatures.
creatures
Okay.
with +1/+1 counters cannot be blocked.
Fair enough then.
So,
yeah, that kind of will probably be annoying to see. So, but I like this card. I think it's cool that they players understood what they were going for with this card, especially with like its CMC and its like power and toughness, being very close to Kira. And it's like, hey, Merfolk, we see you. We see you in Modern. Here's
not gonna
something. Here's something that we can do. How about that?
We're not going to give you any more lords because you have like 87 of them.
Yeah, too many.
But we'll do something a little different.
Yeah, and that's cool. So, are we looking at Lookout's Dispersal
yes,
next?
Lookout Dispersal is next. Lookout Dispersal is a blue instant that costs 2 generic and a blue for a spell that says counter target spell unless controller pays 4. However, it does cost 1 less if you control a pirate. So if you control a pirate, then it is super mana leak.
Mana League better.
So we're looking at all these spells for pirate decks. I think this is average. At 2 mana, it's perfectly acceptable. It's pretty good. But it isn't mana leak because you're almost never getting this on turn 2. We have one mana pirate that we can play to get there. So calling it mana leak was so good in Standard because of what it did in the early turns. This for pirates to be tempo-y, it's going to take some time for it to be good. Now, as a spell that protects your pirates for a good mana cost, it's probably fine, but Spell Pierce exists. So
Yeah, I don't think you necessarily need to counter something on turn 2 for this. I mean, I think this is more like you play out a bunch of pirates and then you use this to counter the sweeper.
Sure, and
You know what I
that's
mean?
fair.
Like,
But
oh, you
is
fumigate
it
or-
better than like Spell? Isn't Spell Pierce going to be better in that situation?
I mean, this might be better at countering like
Like Sweltering Suns.
Sweltering Suns. Yeah,
Sure,
something
sure,
that's
sure.
like a little cheaper that they could actually play around.
This is certainly playable. I'm not. I've seen people who are super high on this, and I think it's fine. It's just fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
kind of
like,
where I put it.
I mean, it definitely incentivizes you to play a pirate deck. Like, I think it's good enough to make you want to go that way.
Yeah.
You know?
And like the 4, like we call it Super Mana League, but like we already made the point that this is very infrequently Mana League, so it does go like a little, like just a little bit longer. It's a little bit more relevant.
That
The
is
turns
true.
go on. Than
And I
Mana
should have
League.
pointed out the 3 mana counter unless you pay 4 has already Spell Shrivel has already seen a ton of play in
Yeah.
Standard. So there's precedent for playing an average counter spell that has upside anyways.
Yep.
So
All right.
man.
Talking about any of the. Are we just going to opt?
Dave,
yeah.
Dave's going to talk about one with the win. So I
All right.
No,
What? So like, what was the Spectral Flight?
it's Spectral Flight.
Yeah.
No, we're not actually talking about this card. Jeez.
Okay. Good.
Go.
Opt.
Opt. All right, this is probably my favorite card in the set. Just throwing it out there. I've been waiting for this reprint for a long time.
Read it.
Opt. Single blue, instant, scry 1, draw a card. Real simple, real clean. Technically, the original Opt, scry wasn't even invented yet, so it just said look at the top card and
You
they
may
put it on the bottom.
bottom.
It was basically scry 1. So I'm glad they kept that so I can play my invasion ops. And then they didn't like rename it something else. But anyway, I think this is a really interesting reprint for them because I think, as we've seen over the years, single blue cantrips have been shown to be a little too powerful.
So either you think that they are too good, or you think they've been unfairly targeted by wizards.
right. We have Ponder and Preordained banned in Modern, and even something like Serum Visions, which, I mean, in all honesty, isn't quote unquote isn't that good. Is still like a staple of Modern.
So
blue
do you
decks.
remember when they brought Scry back as Evergreen? It was that first core set they brought it back in. It was at Origins even? I don't know. But we were like, oh, cool. So that means Serum Visions, right? And they literally like,
Yeah.
oh no, that's
No, that's
really
way
way
too
too good.
Yeah. So I think for Standard, I mean, obviously we don't really have anything like this in Standard. So I think this will fill a nice role for some blue decks. Whether Pirates want to play or not, I'm not sure.
So
it is
just depends what you're doing.
something to do on 1 mana, but
Like I said, there are cards like Riddle Form where this card is pretty important for that.
I think like any kind of control deck would want to play this as a way to just smooth out your draws.
Yeah, like this helps you hit land drops early on,
Right.
And dig for specific answers. This is the kind of card that you can cast if you're looking even for a counter spell because you get 2 looks for it.
Right.
So it's Opt is lovely. I'm glad that it's back, and I'm glad that it's not something incredible. But again, we've talked about how so many of these cards in this set are sort of signaling a reversal for Wizards, where they're sort of coming back towards what we have enjoyed from Magic. And I think this is one of those cards where it's like, okay, they see what we want.
Yeah, I think this will end up being an appropriate power level for Magic, and I think like even for Modern, I mean, this is a card that it was not Modern legal because it was an invasion originally, so it's new to the Modern format. I think it'll be positioned very interestingly in that format as well. So Standard for sure, I think it'll see play. Modern, it's really going to be dependent on what your deck is trying to do. So if you're playing something like Grixis Death Shadow, like Thought Scour is going to be a much more synergistic card in your deck because you actively want to fill your
You wanna
graveyard
fill
for
the cards
Delve
in
and
your
things like
graveyard,
that. But if you are playing a deck that wants to play more mostly at instant speed, and you don't really have the graveyard synergies, maybe you're not a Snapcaster deck per se. Like I think like Opt is just a better card than Thought Scour if you don't have those graveyard synergies. So, yeah, I mean, I think it'll be a good card for Martin as well. I think Storm might want to play some number of these. So, I think somebody asked us on Twitter whether I would dust off the Delvers for this. The problem with Delver isn't really lack of cantrips, so probably not. but I'd consider it.
I like to feel like this card in conjunction with things like Serum Visions though, because the opt allows you to at instant speed change your plan. Like if you scryed something at the top and then like they did something else and you go, ooh, I should not have left this card on top. Like they seem very fun together. So I don't know how many decks can take advantage of both. It's a lot of cards, but
I think so. Currently in Modern, I'm playing Blue-White Control, and that's a deck that plays 4 Serum Visions, and it kind of has a lot of like one-ofs and stuff like that. And I think Opt is a pretty good card for that style of deck because I think like I could probably end up cutting a land because I'd be having more cantrips in my deck, and it gives you just more ways to dig to those one-ofs. And it's instant speed, so you can leave up counter spells, and then end of turn you can, like if you have Cryptic Mana up or something like that, you can play this if they don't play anything.
And you mentioned possibly playing like Monastery Mentor in the sideboard. I think it's something like Young Pyromancer, where anytime you see an instant speed cantrip like this, it's worth considering.
Yeah, and again, I mean there are other options. I mean we have like Sleight of Hand, things like that. That's a sorcery speed. So
you can just go. We've played Blue-Red Prowess before, even in Modern, and that's if you went back to playing a card, even like an Abbot of.
Abbot of Carolkeep?
Thank Carolkeep, yeah. Like how you want to load your deck up with as many 1-mana spells as you can, so you can get value out of it. So
yeah, I think the problem, and we don't have to go on this too much longer, but like you don't want to run like too many 1-mana because like you're just gonna get crushed by Chalice of the Flame. But like I think like it's definitely gonna see standard play. It will see Modern play. How much we'll see, but I don't think it's gonna be like every blue deck's gonna be playing 4 ops now.
Sure.
But it's just another cantrip in the mix, and I think it's like powerful enough to see Modern play.
Yeah.
So we'll leave it at that.
Sorry, you guys were talking about a blue cantrip for too long, and I lost interest. My bad.
Well,
Opt is good.
Let's talk about a bad card then,
Sweet.
because I actually don't know why we're talking about this card.
Okay.
Overflowing
we
Insight?
don't have to talk about it. Draw 7 manas. All right.
Yeah, this card's bad.
Yeah, as a sorcery, it's.
You're gonna feel so great when you open this mythic.
I think
your
it's
pack
cool.
and you're like,
This is the first card that's ever just read, right? Like just like target player draw 7, right? Isn't that how it's set up? So, but we just saw an instant speed where you scry 1 and draw a card. So for 6 more mana, we get to draw 6 more cards, but it's now a sorcery and we don't get to scry at all. So that conversion rate, like I know you're getting it on 1 card, so I guess that's the payoff. But I don't know where you're casting this in standard.
Never. Unless you like playing a weird mill deck and you also want to be able to draw cards, but also potentially kill your opponent.
I guess.
I mean, like I know you don't want to open this, but I also don't want to have to get like $25 mythics for like every day.
Oh no!
You know what I mean? Like I'm okay with them. printing
this is
crappy
fine.
mythics.
No, this is cool. I'm sure it'll be there are people in Commander who'll be excited about it. I want to cast it in Type 4. I know it's going to be there. I want to draw 7 cards in that format. But we really tend to talk about constructed, and I don't think this card is.
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
Good enough.
There are a lot of mythics in the set there that go harken back to like what mythics are supposed to be, which is actually really
great.
good
Yeah,
feeling.
Love it.
So I'm still taking the next card then, though.
Yeah, Perilous Voyage.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Really? We're not talking about Perilous Voyage?
No.
You don't want to go on a fantastic voyage.
I really don't want to
Coolio.
throw a 2-mana unsummon. None
All
of
right,
them
man.
have seen play. I understand you sometimes get to scry, but there are so many in standard, and none of them have seen play.
Okay.
And no, there's no way in my mind, unless, especially if it's any of the tech that has access to black, there's no way you're playing Perilous Voyage over like consigned, or is it consigned or
Consigned to Oblivion.
yeah? Is that the one where it's draw that you have Mind Rot on the second half?
Yeah.
There's just no reason not to play that one otherwise. If you have any way of making black mana. So.
All right.
Sorry, bud. If we
Siren.
didn't have Unsummon, maybe.
Siren Storm Tamer.
Siren Sword Tamer. So I really actually love this card.
Oh yeah.
This is a blue mana for a 1/1 Siren Pirate Wizard. Has flying, and then pay a blue, sacrifice Siren Storm Tamer, counter target spell or ability that targets you or a creature you control. As we know, Judge's Familiar has won multiple Pro Tours, and
You even seen the spirit one? Did good
Mausoleum.
work.
yeah, and
Wanderer.
Mausoleum Wanderer, right? So
did good
Siren
work.
Storm Tamer has a pedigree to it, but this being a pirate is obviously a big deal. It having flying is a big deal, and it enables a lot of the other cards in this, and then it gets to protect your better spells as the game goes on. So I really like this card overall.
I will say the one downside it has compared to the other cards is
You have
you
to
have
pay
to
mana.
actually pay a mana
Yeah.
for it. Though it does protect you from spells
Yeah.
as well. So like if your opponent targets you with a draw 7, you'd be like, no, that's
I'd rather not.
no thanks.
Sneaky. I see you're trying to mill me out. I'm not going to let you do that. I think more appropriately, though, they might have a discard spell you don't want them to be able to resolve.
Sure.
And that is kind of nifty to be able to interact with that. Burn spells, obviously.
So, yeah, lightning strike you.
So-
No.
And that's also cool because in that way it also can protect your planeswalkers from burn spells, too. If they're planning a lightning strike, you're like, I want to kill this Jace. But you have to target me with your lightning strike, and I'm going to counter it. So, yeah. I mean,
Yeah, the card's sweet.
yeah, I think this is just like any blue-based Pirates deck is probably starting right here.
Great cube card, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get in there.
Flying Men with Upside.
Yeah, I'll take it. I like blue eye flyers in your cube. All right. Spell Pierce now?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Getting all the good ones.
We all know
Pierce.
we all know and love
I
this
played
card.
many a Spell Pierce. Spell Pierce, single blue instant, counter target non-creature spell unless its controller pays 2. Don't play this in your control decks.
Yeah, please do not.
Play this in your pirate decks.
Yep.
Or, your tempo, tempo decks.
Tempagro.
Yeah.
Tempagro. No, I think, obviously it's already modern legal, so this one,
Yeah, pretty
it's not
easy
going to
slam
change
dunk
anything
modern
for
card.
modern. But
Already good.
Already good. In standard, this is going to be something I think it's going to be really good at countering planeswalkers.
Yeah.
And things like Fumigate,
Yep.
stuff like that.
Well,
Or
I
Approach
mean,
to the Second Sun.
Settle the wreckage. Oh, approach the second sun, please.
I mean, Glimmer of Genius, to be quite honest, for the decks that
Yeah.
want to just like cause the control deck to slow down, this is. Ooh.
I think this is going to be, this would be important for like Pirates, if Pirates is a thing, like if Merfolk is a thing. You want to play it in a
I
Merfolk
even
deck.
think that decks like Energy can take advantage of this card too, because they're the kind of deck that you can set up your turns in a way to sequence so you're leaving 1 mana up pretty consistently with your servants or whatever else, and that would feel really good to counter Chandra's with your Spell Pierce.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, there are a lot of games in standard that come down to being able to play Chandra on an empty board, and only leaving up a single mana to counter that. I mean,
it feels pretty good.
I think the last time this was in standard was when Cobblade was at the height of its powers, and that was kind of maybe not a great time for standard. I personally enjoyed it because I like playing Cobblade, and I actually enjoyed the mirrors. I thought they were pretty interesting, but it does create some tension there. It's just like you don't want to just walk into a Spell Pierce.
Sure.
Yeah. But it's 1 mana. It's super hard to play around. So
Yeah. It was a little surprising to see this one as a reprint, to be honest. But
I like it.
We got Opt, this, and Duress all in the same day.
Yeah,
and
it's
I was like, oh, Ixalan is great.
Yeah.
everybody went like, I don't know about this set. Oh, it's great.
So, Mike, I do want to make you put on a tinfoil hat here real quick.
All right.
So the person that is accredited for the flavor text on this card is called a Shaper. Kumina?
Okay.
So spell shapers are like a pretty important. I feel like they're somewhat iconic cards, and they have like you pay a mana and what, discard a card?
Yes.
To do an effect.
Or pay some number of mana, yeah.
Yeah. But usually discard a card is part
Yes.
of the, because they convert your other cards into spells, right?
And they have the super ones where you have to discard 2 cards.
Sure. So there's this card that you like. I know that it's called Drakehaven. So tinfoil theory, this guy has a shaper in his name. Could spell shapers come back?
Oh my gosh! So you're telling me
Could they be good?
You're telling me that you give me Waterfront Bouncer because is that called a pirate?
No,
it's a merfolk,
though.
Whatever.
It was originally printed as
But
like
give me that effect
not
with
a merfolk.
Drakehaven.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bounce your guy and get a Drake.
I'm just saying, just like an important thing to
all
call
right.
out.
Yeah, is there anything on the Drakehaven watch in this set that makes it good?
No.
No.
Rowdy Crew?
You
Rowdy Crew? You gonna Rowdy Crew it up?
in general have a lot of like loot effects
You can play it with
attached to
Jace.
creatures.
You can play
yeah.
Jace, and then Jace ticks up on your. So when your Drakes hit, then you trigger and make more Drakes. But then you're playing 2-3 mana things that really are kind of average by themselves. So
Yeah, it's probably not doing it.
No, but maybe. Shaper Watch. We'll keep an eye out for rivals.
so Shaper Venser,
Yeah.
right? He gets stuck here too.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me out! I gotta help mirror it. All right, Spell Swindle. I put this one on here. This is blue, and 3 generic for an instant. Counter target spell, create X colorless treasure artifact tokens or X that spells converted mana cost. So this is a
mana drain.
a fixed mana drain. I want to point out that one, I cast so Plasm Capture. I cast Plasm Capture many a time in
That
Standard.
costs 4.
Yeah, and I cast my
That's
Aethelings.
5.
We have precedent for 5-mana counterspells being playable recently in Standard. You had the one that made Clues see play consistently. And then you had even like Summary Dismissal, which is powerful but costs 4 mana.
I wouldn't say consistently.
I
It
think
saw some amount of play.
it saw some amount of play. This card, I think there are situations where this card is quite good, and not only when you're trying to win the game via treasure
I will
tokens.
say, playing a Gear Hulk and flashing this one back would be
Right.
hotness.
Right.
Oh,
And you didn't have to
dang.
tap out on
They
your turn
even-
for your
they
Gear
even,
Hulk because you already had 5 treasure tokens.
Yeah. They even like they chain together. Like
They
you just like make more
what you're
treasures.
looking for is they complement each other.
Yeah. Okay.
So
I like that. Still don't know if it's.
I don't know if it's
quote
good
unquote
enough, but I think like the fact that you get treasure tokens makes this pretty interesting because you get to use them at your leisure. Oh, and then if you're playing them in conjunction with treasure map, then it does turn into you just drawing a couple of cards over the course of a few turns, which is also sweet.
I'd be concerned with the speed. I think the format's going to be pretty fast.
Yeah, I would agree
And
with
I
that.
don't know if this is going to be good enough, given if it's fast forward. But
I'd like to
possibly a
find
sideboard card. I don't know. We will wait and see on this one. But it's a sweet one for sure. But 5 minutes a lot.
It is.
5 minutes is most certainly long.
Have you ever cracked 3 clues after casting a Confirmed Suspicions? Because I have. So
Yeah, that was in like an Eldrazi ramp deck.
I don't care.
So
wanna
it's different.
Play Treasure Ramp. Hashtag Treasure Ramp.
Do I have to talk about this next card?
What, Stormfleet Aerialist?
Yeah, I guess.
Card. So it's the Stormfleet Aerialist is a 1 generic 2 mana 1/2 with flying, and then raid. If you attacked with a creature this turn, you get a +1/+1 counter. It becomes a 2/3 flyer for 2. Again, this kind of feeds in to the evasive pirate deck. I think this card is pretty solid.
Yeah, I think it's going to be good.
You may not play it on turn 2, or you may play it as a 1/2 on turn 2, but then this one hopefully enables your next ones or whatever. I think it is sort of unassuming, but could feed into that deck.
Not sure about this one.
That's fine. I think it's pretty good. I have to say I love the art. She's just like the weirdest flying contraption that you could have created, and it's great. So
Hey, yeah, since when do pirates fly? Like, why do we have so many flying pirates?
since
They have to be evasive.
So time works differently in Neverland than it works here. And a couple generations ago, the Pans and the pirates actually started crossbreeding.
Oh, yeah.
So now you have pirate Pans,
Gotcha.
and they
They're the
fly.
worst. I want to give a shout out to Tempest Caller. This is going to be one of the cards unlimited that if it gets cast against you, you're dead. You are just dead.
It's like
Congratulations.
sleep on a stick.
Yeah. Tap all your
It puts you to
dudes.
sleep.
All
Yeah,
concede.
you're dead.
What was the card that was played? LSV played one in his deck. I'm trying to remember. There was the white card that did this too. The Angel.
The angel.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the Angel
yeah.
that did this. It's all standard play because of that.
Constructed, yeah.
Yeah, so
As a way to battle through the mirror because
Yeah.
it
Yep.
just got so bogged down. Yeah, that's pretty nuts.
So just prepare to this card. Don't read the text. It actually says when Tempest Caller enters the battlefield, target opponent concedes the game.
yeah.
tap all creatures target.
Unless you play like on turn 4, that's just sad. It's a 2-3.
then you're losing. I don't know what you're doing
you cast
here.
it there.
Yeah.
So Dave, you can read the last blue card if you'd like.
Yep.
All right. Last blue card. Search for Azcanta is a colorless and a blue legendary enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, look at the top card of your library. You may put it into your graveyard. Then, if you have 7 or more cards in your graveyard, you may transform Search of Azcanta. And if you do, it flips over into Azcanta, the Sunken Ruin. It's a legendary land. Taps for a blue. And also has the ability of 2 and a blue tap. Look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a non-creature, non-land card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. I love this card.
This card's like just good.
It's kind of dirtily. But
Yeah.
Kind of
kind of dirtily.
It's like
Kinda
super dirtily.
It's kind of dirtily, but I do like that. First off, can I just say like the blue map is like really sweet too.
Oh yeah, the arts on
Like-
all these like lands are gorgeous.
Well, we talked about like with the treasure map about how like just the land border, but like these colored ones, like just having like the on top of the map, like also has the blue. Oh man. Anyway, I love this. You could even some of these you don't want to play too many of them. They do flip it into legendary lands. But this one having the May, like you don't like if you already have one flipped into a land, you could just play a second one and then just get scries every turn on your turn, which isn't the greatest thing in the world. But if your land gets blown up, if your land gets blown up, you can then flip the other one into a land. Yeah, love it. I think you could actually see modern play as well. I mean, like putting 7 cards in your graveyard is really not that hard.
No, I agree with that. I think this card is super powerful, and I'm glad. I don't know. These lands all feel very cool to me. I know, so I'm judging a pre-release on Saturday, and I know this is my major announcement I have to make is that you cannot just play these as lands because I know it's going to happen at the pre-release. Oh, I'll play, but.
Why would anybody play this as a spell? You could just play it.
This one feels the closest just playing as a land, though.
Yeah.
It is not hard to meet its condition, and then the backside of it is just great. So, I have nothing bad to say about this card. It's sweet.
Nope, it's a good one for sure. But that is blue, and blue definitely got a lot of stuff from Ixalan. Definitely,
back.
Yeah.
Blue got a new identity, and man, it looks good.
Yeah.
Blue got a makeover.
Yeah.
It's got looking real nice. It's real nice.
But I think that a lot of if you're a diehard blue mage, Ixalan is definitely very exciting for you, which you may have been surprised by. I think like you may have been like, it's a stupid dinosaur set.
Dinosaur set. Green's gonna be the best ever again. Oh, where's all the green draw card spells? Come on, where are they at? I know they're here.
Now, to be fair, green is still pretty good. So
see, and they got a really good draw card spell, right?
Yeah, they got Ripjaw Raptor.
Yeah, they got a creature that just like ancestrals when you kill it.
Yeah. So we're gonna move on to black and start with Deadeye Tracker, or is it Deadeye Tracker?
Yeah, it's Deadeye Tracker.
Okay, because I saw Tormentor, I was like, wait, no, it's Deadeye Tracker.
No,
we want to talk about Boneyard Parlay.
No, pass.
Yeah, we had to go like 10, 11 cards deep before we got to the first one.
I do want to mention real quick though, Dark Nourishment. The 5-mana uncommon that can deal 3 damage to a creature or player and you gain 3 life.
Yeah, sweet limited card.
When's the last time Black got to deal 3 direct damage? I remember Bump the Night was like they lost life, but this is not loss of life. This is direct damage to a player.
There's been a ton of cards like this.
To a player specifically. Okay.
Yeah, there's been
I was thinking like the Kaladesh card, but that's to a creature.
Right, yeah, that one's to a creature.
They can't go to the face.
The Essence Extraction or whatever.
Yeah.
I would say like the only weird thing about this is that it's an instant, not a sorcery.
Yeah,
typically they're like
it is a weird thing. Like it is weird for Black to get an actual lightning helix. It's it's an actual lightning helix. So
I do want to give a shout out to.
It's 250% more.
I do want to give a shout out to one of the most flavorful cards I think is in the set, which is Contract Killing. It's going to be like your limited like sorcery speed like removal, but it's awesome because you kill a creature and then you get money for it. It's the best. It is the best. I love it. All right, moving on.
Deadeye Tracker is a black for a 1/1 creature human pirate. A generic and a black, tap it, exile 2 target cards from an opponent's graveyard. Deadeye Tracker explores. So this is the kind of card where when you look at this, it feels very unassuming. But again, they were really careful with these Explore cards, and I think Explore is pretty powerful. That being said, I don't think this card is actually very good.
Well, I think it is. It's a cheap pirate. I mean, we talked about there only being like one drop in blue.
Right.
So if you're playing like a blue-black pirate stack,
maybe,
or if you're playing like a mostly black, this is going to be one of your only like 1-drops. I do think it's interesting. So, like, I think we should talk about Explore a little bit more because, like, we kind of talked about like the cost of the creatures, but like, what actually is it? So it's like if you reveal the top of the library, if it's a land, you put it in your hand. So it's almost like draw a card, right? So it's 2 mana tap, draw a card if you get that, or it's 2 mana tap. This creature gets a +1/+1 counter, and then you're essentially like scrying, right?
Yeah,
like, you can put the card in the graveyard
if you want.
Correct. So. Like either way, there's some amount of like manipulation there.
The deck manipulation and the value is real, but the cost for this is this is hard to activate this ability.
Yes,
like prohibitively difficult to activate this ability, and all the cards with Explore, as we already said, are overcosted or prohibitively difficult. And I just again maybe I'm misreading it. I'm sure Unlimited it's going to be wonderful, but I don't know. I don't know if this. I don't know what their testing showed, but it obviously showed that Explorer is very, very good.
Yeah. You might be right. I mean, it may be not great, not good enough for Constructed, but I think it's a really cool card. I mean, I wouldn't completely count it out for Constructed, but you're right. Yeah, I mean, it can be a little prohibitive there, but the fact that it is one of the only early drops might let it see some play, or otherwise wouldn't.
It has the right. It has the right. It's a pirate. It is the right one there. It certainly could see some play. I'm not a huge fan of it, but I certainly like left unchecked in a long game. This is going to get you value for sure.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I guess I want to see if Explorer it really feels good enough for constructive, because you compare this card to Grim Lavamancer. Okay. Now, obviously, Grim Lavamancer is the best at what it does.
Yeah, that's
right. But it was
a tough comparison.
It was standard legal, not too terribly long ago, I guess. Probably longer than my claim about Tormod's Crypt. So I don't know if I'm hurting my argument here. But you exile 2 cards in their yard, and you get to deal 2 damage, which is a huge upgrade to this, and that was cheaper, right?
Yeah.
It was also like activated from your own graveyard, so you could build your deck around filling up your own graveyard or whatever.
So you already have a cost that is associated with your opponent doing something.
Yeah.
Plus, it costs 2 mana. So I don't know. I want to know if we're gonna get that M Files article. You know what I mean? That tells us that Explorer was just disgusting at cost.
Like maybe it was only like a single black and exile cards from your own graveyard.
Yeah. I wonder.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. All right. That's cool. I still think it's a cool card, though.
I agree it's a cool card. I definitely think it's a cool card.
All right. Next up, we have Dire Fleet Ravager. Oh, Taserface.
Hand farts.
Taserface.
Hand farts.
Hand farts.
Hand farts.
Hand farts.
Also good.
Like, it definitely doesn't make a noise. It's just like
everyone just all the people on his ship are just like frowning all the time.
They're just like they just like kind of walk away.
Look, there's old hand farts.
Here he comes again. Thinks he's so cool with his menace and his death touch.
If you had farts to cut her hand, you definitely have death touch. I want you to know. Hey, buddy, give me a hug. Don't you touch me.
He's definitely holding like a mace as well or whatever. So like that's like the menace, and the other one's the death touch. Right? So this guy, it's a 3 black for an orc pirate wizard. It's a wizard for some reason. Oh, because only wizards can have farty hands. So it's a 4/4. When it enters the battlefield, each player loses a third of his or her life rounded up. So this is kind of an odd. It feels like out of place, honestly, in a set. We haven't had a card like this in a while.
I don't know what this card
it's like
does.
It says 5 mana 4/4 menace death touch. It affects both players, so it's not just. I don't know.
So I'm confused here. Does the aggressive deck play this and then hurt themselves more than their opponent just by the sheer nature of them curving up to attack?
Well, I guess like if you're playing an aggressive deck though, like you're probably not going to care as much about your own life total anyway.
Have you seen Standard recently? That's not how decks tend to work.
You
though.
get them to 12, and then you're like, all right, lose 4.
Lose 4, and I'll lose. What?
Yeah,
I'll lose 6.
Like 7. Yeah.
And then you've opened up the door for me to lose the game now. I don't know who wants to play this card. I don't understand. Nobody wants to be friends with fart hands, but
it never actually kills them. Like even if they're at like 3, it's like all right, lose 1, or whatever. I guess if they're at 1,
nope, it rounds up.
Yeah, so they take 1.
No, a third of 1, it rounded up.
All right. Does it not round up to 1, or
it would round up to 1? I will. Let me check on this card. What?
Then they're dead. If they're at 1, right?
If they're at 1, then their life total becomes 1.
They lose a third of
their life, so they go to 0.6.
So they lose
rounded
1.
Up. No, it's rounded up. They won't lose 1.
Oh God, we can't do this. It's not going to happen. Like, there's an infinite blink in the standard format, and this card's not making it to modern. All right, I think
blink it infinitely, and you just draw the game. No, you're both at 1.
No, this is an actual limit, and it keeps approaching 0, but it can't actually. It can never touch 0.
I don't know who wants this card. It's a mythic. It's weird. It does weird things, and that's why it's a mythic. It is something that can be cool for Commander. I'm not playing this card. No one in this table is playing this card. If you play this card and do some cool stuff with it, let us know.
You could get people unlimited with farty hands.
Sure, yeah, you can get people with lots of mythics.
Captain Farty hands.
He sounds so much less like angry when he's Captain Farty Hands. He's a sad pirate that no one will be friends with.
Yeah, he's a sad fat pirate that no one wants to be friends with.
If you rounded down, it would be 0, right?
What?
If you rounded down, if they're at 1, and you rounded down, it would be
okay.
0.
I'm sorry.
They would
I
lose
guess,
0.
Okay, you're right. I'm sorry. I'm misreading the card. I was thinking their life total, whatever life total is rounded up.
no.
You're right. You're right. I'm sorry.
People listening are like, God, just figure
Sorry.
it out, guys. Figure it out.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I literally was, as I was doing this, look up the release notes. If a player has 1 life, that player loses 1 life.
Boom.
If each player has 0 life after that, the game's a draw. Yes.
You can do it. You have your goal.
Somebody find the infinite blink deck.
In a 2-giant game, each player loses a third of the team's life total rounded up. For example, if a team has 13 life, each player on that team loses 5 life, and the team loses 10 total.
Oh, God.
Okay, I found the format where the card's good.
Yeah, I guess if you're playing 2-giant,
Are you playing 2HG this
I
week?
am. All right.
I
there you
guess
go.
that still feels really bad for your team, though, too, right? Because it happens.
Unless, of course, it like finishes the game. I guess I don't know.
Who can? I don't. I'm done with this card. We talked too much about it.
We did.
It was fun, though.
Duress.
Yeah. Let's talk about this real exciting card.
It's a single black for sorcery. Target opponent reveals his or her hand. You choose a non-creature, non-land card from it. That player discards a card, or discards that card. Oh my gosh,
Duress good.
it's been so long. We have a clean answer for 1 mana. The answer's planeswalkers, vehicles, counter magic. Oh gosh, it's just
Love it.
Duress good. Play Duress.
What do you think about this art?
it was bad.
I don't like this art.
Duress art bad. Play
I don't.
better duress art.
I don't understand. Like people were like flipping out about this art. I'm like, I don't really like the
Yeah,
skinny Tormund in a boat. I don't I don't understand it.
It's like a cover of the sad Queensryche album.
Yeah, like it's just
This is the album that has Silent Lucidity on it. I want you to know.
it just doesn't appeal to me. I would rather play like Kolaghan Duress.
Yeah,
even
so-
like
I love the OG Duress.
Yeah, like, obviously.
So either play
holding
Saga
like a-
or 7th edition is fine. Okay, that one's fine. But if not, if you're gonna play a modern one, you definitely play Kanza or Dragons of
yeah,
Tarkir.
Kolaghan
because
Duress.
you just have Kolaghan screaming at what was his name?
Zurgo.
Yeah, Zurgo, and
Yeah.
Zurgo cowering. He's like, I'm sorry, Kolaghan, and it's great. So
But yeah, Duress is good. Nothing more to say about it. Play it in
on.
your sideboards.
I
Play
like
main
how
deck.
you said nothing more to say about it, and then said more about
Yeah.
it.
Okay, or we play it in your main deck, I guess.
Play main deck.
Or whatever, Psycho.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
All right. Fathom Fleet Captain. So this is another rare, I guess, role player pirate. So we talked about the blue one. This is kind of the black version. So this is 1 and a black for a 2/1 human pirate with menace. Whenever it attacks, if you control another non-token pirate, you may pay 2. If you do, create a 2/2 black pirate creature token with menace. So this gives you a way to kind of build out your board without, spending more cards, which is always nice. Does require you to have another non-token, so you can't just like go infinite with, or like make 1 token and then just keep going off of that. But yeah, I think it's a nice card. I mean, like 2/1 menace is fine on its own, and then the fact that it gives you the option to build out your board. If you
Yeah,
want to.
I think it works well since it looks like any version of the Pirates deck is going to be pretty tempo-y, so you're going to be playing a mix of fatal pushes or unsummons or this. So this that 2 mana, like if your hand is full of spells, then this gives you a way to build out your board. You can use your spells to let this attack, and it plays functionally well with how the deck is designed. So seems good. Next up, we have another pirate. Kite Sail Freebooter,
Yeah.
and this is a battle box special. It's a generic and a black for a 1/2 human pirate that has flying. When it enters the battlefield, target opponent reveals his or her hand. You choose a non-creature, non-land card from it. Exile that card until Freebooter leaves the battlefield. So this is our Brain Maggot, Tidehauler, Sculler. It's fixed. So I guess what was the fixed?
It's Duress on a stick.
Yes, this is fair. It's pretty good, especially when you see we already talked about the Siren Storm Tamer that can protect your creatures. So if it's a spell you really want to keep under lock and key, you have some ways to do that. Obviously, Spell Pierce as well. I think what's cool about this card, the way it's set up in this format, is the downfall of these cards tends to be like, oh, you want to take the removal spell when they have 2. Well, you can play this and set it up with your Spell Pierce to be like, yeah, go ahead, unlock it. Go ahead. Open the chest.
Well, I mean, they also if they want to get their removal spell back, they have to spend a removal spell.
Right.
So
and
it's still
and it feels good. It feels good.
Yeah. Now, there are going to be times where you're going to whiff on this, but the fact that it flies, it's like compare this to Brain Mac, right? Brain Mac it can hit creatures,
never attacks,
but it
never
just doesn't
hits
do anything. It's like it might as well not even be a creature because it's just a 1/1 for 2, right?
It's a 1/1 lightning
This
rod.
one could actually get in there for some damage or like trigger raid. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, exactly.
you attack with this and then you cast your draw 2 because you attack this turn. So this can actually do some things for you. And the fact that it can't take everything, I don't think is going to make it bad enough to where it doesn't see play.
Yeah, and the flying being a trade-off for not taking creatures, since there's not actually a ton of creatures with flying that you're going to see early in the format. So
Yeah, you get a bonus toughness too.
yeah, which is
Just
nice.
for some reason. I don't know.
I like this card.
Yeah, I think it's fine.
Just play this card
It's
with
fine card.
Metallic Mimic and name Pirates, and then you'll have a 2/3 flyer that's
Oh,
still a
yeah.
card.
That's a real card,
Yeah,
yeah.
that is true.
See that's a 2/3 flyer with a counter on it that I could get behind. I could
you
get
go.
behind that. The blue one,
Yeah, but then the blue one is a 3/4 flyer.
For 2
Sure.
mana,
It just keeps getting better.
Sure.
and then your Skyship Plunderer makes it even bigger.
Correct.
They do high fives in the air while they're stealing stuff. It's
Yep.
great.
They just keep getting swords attached. They got they have the knife in their mouth.
She's like flying that thing around with all the pulleys and stuff, and they just keep adding cannons to it. And another one, can I keep flying this way? Yeah, you're good.
I don't think
good.
it's going to stay in there very much longer.
They're lightweight cannons. It's fine.
We're not going to talk about Revel and
I was
Riches.
just-
No, God, no.
But you win the game.
It is cool to see an alternate win condition.
This one should just be called Make It Rain.
I just love that this art is becoming the image art for that's on the mothership. It's just like, yeah, look at all these coins. Now I do want to take a minute here though, because is it Beatty? I think is his name, the guy who does the flavor reviews on Star City. He made a very valid point about the coins that we're seeing in these treasure chests, and I hate it now because look at those coins. Those
Yeah.
are round coins that are perfect. So as he implied, that means that they're machined. Like that coins that look like that are machined. But Ixalan does not have industry to do this. Each coin should look like square-ish and hammered by itself. It should look like real pirate treasure. Go look at the treasure tokens, perfect round discs. And I was like, man, they do so good and they messed this up.
Well, maybe like one of these secret like lands that they find. Like maybe there's like ancient
They're printing-
machines.
so wait,
There's
they're
ancient
printing-
machines that have been printing gold
But
coins.
it's been printing
Yeah.
gold coins for 4 different currency types too?
Yes.
Now,
That's they all print different styles.
now, to be fair, Magic, maybe the coins are made via a magical process, and it allows them to be
We've
perfect.
seen one pirate wizard and he uses magic to make fart hands.
I'm not saying he made the coins.
The technology isn't there yet.
I don't
We're
know.
only on
Maybe
fart
he's the one who
hands.
does it. He holds his fart magic over the metal and it becomes a coin as it tries to escape his fart hands.
Listen, I'm just saying. Magic could explain away a lot of this.
That's the same people who like when you talk Game of Thrones are like, oh, you'll believe dragons, but you won't believe it. I want consistent internal logic. Give me coins.
I'm
on
gonna go with the secret cities have special machines.
Special machines.
So you're saying
Yeah,
there's like
that's why they're so
You're
sought
talking
after.
about the
You gotta find it.
Illuminati on Ixalan, like the
Yeah.
New World Orders hiding there.
Yeah.
That we do have lizard people, so I guess the actual dinosaurs are not lizard people, I suppose.
that's
But whatever, we'll call them Lizalfos, and we'll go from there.
All right, next card.
It's actually Ruin Raider.
Ruin Raider. So it's 2 and a black for a 3/2 orc pirate. Has raid. At the beginning of your end step, if you attacked with a creature this turn, reveal the top card of your library and put that card into your hand. You lose life equal to the card's converted mana cost.
I just noticed this creature has hair.
Yeah,
It's got like bishop style dreads that I didn't notice.
yeah. You didn't realize the massive receding hairline.
I thought he was bald, and I was like,
Sorry,
behind him. I was
Ruin Raider.
Like, and I was
You
like,
got a
oh,
5 head.
shoot.
He's got like predator hair coming out of the bag.
It's just like hanging on, like yeah.
Yeah, I just don't
Maybe it's time
understand. That's
to-
a lot of forehead.
That all the orcs kind of
look at the next one. Look at Ruthless Knave.
Yeah, he's got a big
Dude,
forehead.
All the
Yeah.
forehead.
Just in case you're wondering, I can only assume that Dire Fleet Ravager has a pretty big forehead. I mean, he looks bald though. He looked like he was like, "Nah, I ain't doing
Hold on here.
this."
I want to make. We didn't
He
say
just
this,
he
but
just embraced it and went full ball.
I want to
like,
talk about
he's
Fathom Fleet Captain just for a quick second. They've done such a good job of trying to make like people look more realistic. That guy's got chest hair, and that makes me real happy for some reason, because whenever we sort of see these guys who are like that, they're all like, glistening like on like a book cover. No, that guy, he's got a bunch of chest hair. and I appreciate that because. So
He also has a whole rope and pulley system attached to his
I
body.
told you they haven't found belts yet.
No, the vampires have belts.
Yes.
Yeah,
I know, the pirates
have
don't
a
have
pulley
belts.
system for their pants.
All right, but Rune Raider. So this guy is like, hey, remember Dark Confidant? I'm kind of like that.
But not really.
No, they can't reprint Dark Confidant, man. I don't know what to tell you.
Obviously not. But like a lot of people were excited about this card. I don't really see it.
But because it can happen, like so it's not like the one like Inspire card, right? Like because you don't have to attack with it. Yeah.
You can cast this after you've already attacked on turn 3,
Yeah.
and then immediately get a trigger.
Right.
And we
Yeah.
already have enough flying
Yeah,
pirates that this guy never has to attack to get that, and that's why
Just like
it
Dark
feels
Confidant.
like Dark Confidant.
Yeah, you could play the freebooter on turn 2, take the removal spell, get in there for 1,
Right.
play this, draw a card.
Right.
That feels nice. When they sweep your board and then you play this and you have no other creatures, going to be
Absolutely.
oh cool. I had a 3/2 for 3. So
Again, nothing's going to be Dark Confidant, but this
Right.
this you don't have to do a lot of work for. It's the same reason why the Glint Sleeve Siphoner was good enough. You didn't really have to do a lot of work to make that card able to draw you a couple extra cards. It isn't going to be confident. It isn't going to happen every single turn easily. But this feels easy enough to trigger at least a few times that it's probably worth its weight in
And I hate
treasure.
You. Yeah. Well, at least it's a gold.
It's not gold tokens. It's treasure tokens.
I know.
I think it's interesting that this is not a May.
Nope.
Let me just read this again. Yeah,
Just double check.
Yeah, no. So like,
Oh, it happens.
you could definitely get in some awkward spots
yeah.
where like, you want to attack to win the game, but like you have to trigger this, and then you might actually
Also,
die.
like Bob, isn't that weird?
Kind of like Bob, but it's a little different because you
To be
kind of
fair,
control it.
You
to a
could
point.
attack with this one and then kill it before your end step.
Yeah.
Where you couldn't do that with Bob. Bob did it to your upkeep. So better.
There you go. Improvement. No.
All right. Next up, we have Hellrider.
No, stop it.
No.
Oh,
Stop it.
Hellrider for like a crappy.
all right. Next up, we have
tribe.
Sanctum Seeker. This is a 2 generic black for a 3/4 creature vampire knight. Whenever a vampire you control attacks, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Obviously, it's not Hellrider. It doesn't have haste. It has a stipulation on which creatures are attacking to do this. However, this is probably all we have as a current payoff for making a bunch of 1/1 vampire tokens.
Yeah.
So,
So this is more comparable to what was the black Hellrider that didn't see any play?
the mythic from Fate Reforged.
Yeah,
I
forget what it was called.
shoot, I
3/3 for 4.
I think there's a big difference
with a
here,
hybrid
though.
ability.
It was a 3/3 for 4. This is a 3/4, so it's not going to die to your Braid or your Lightning Strike.
Yeah, Lightning Strike. Yeah.
Because don't forget, we had Lightning Strike in that format. I know because I've played it a lot.
Yeah, Jessica was great.
But I do think that this, being able to come down and then you get to attack with your 1/1 tokens that turn to also get this trigger, it is interesting. I don't think this card is nearly as good as what Hellrider was.
Hellrider's
but if you
really
are
great.
dead set on playing vampires, if you are undead set on playing vampires, there we go, fixed it. This card is a fine payoff.
I'm going to be cautious with this one because I think I was excited about the last one, and it just didn't work out. And I think like losing, Hellrider was such a good card, probably because of the haste. I think the haste is really what put it over the
But it
top.
was also because the red deck around it was very, very good.
Right. This one, not having haste.
Yeah, no,
vampires not being that
I mean,
great.
it has pseudo haste. Like the trigger still
Pseudo.
happens when you're
No,
attacking.
I'm saying
with
it
creatures.
itself.
I
Like,
know.
you can't just play this on an empty board and like hit him for 4.
Sorry.
Drain him. Yeah.
Sorry that your black card doesn't have haste.
They've made them before. There was a shade that had haste. Zendikar.
The dragon that had infect also had haste, right? You could give it haste.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like tertiary.
It's been done
Yeah.
before.
So
Anyway, I mean, maybe. I'm not going to hold my breath on that one.
all right. Let's talk about.
Vicious
Yeah,
Conquistador?
so I do want to make a quick mention of Seeker Squire, which is one of those cards that has Explorer that's a 1/2 for 2. Again,
It's going to my cube.
it's probably good enough, but
Yeah,
I'm
try
not
it out.
totally sure. You want to talk about Sword Point Diplomacy cards?
No, the card's bad.
To go back to Seeker Squire, it's only a human scout and it doesn't have any other relevant creature types, so I hate it.
Oh, okay.
It's
Not a-
like,
it's not a
it's not a
pirate.
vampire. It's not a pirate. Like, come on.
This is like a limited card.
yeah, I
It's just
know.
like this is fine.
just like give it a relevant
Yeah, I
creature
actually
type.
don't.
and-
I don't actually understand that because
Like, why isn't
is
it
it
a
dressed
pirate?
in conquistador clothing? So is it? It is a.
So it's a squire. So they have it.
So
Like,
it hasn't been turned yet.
Yeah,
That's stupid.
it's still
Okay.
getting it's still getting its stripes.
Okay.
you gotta earn those fangs. All right, Vicious Conquistador is a black for a 1/2 mustache. Sorry, is a vampire soldier. Whenever it attacks, each opponent loses 1 life. We already have this card in standard. Night Market Lookout. It's
Yeah.
a 1/1 for black that when it attacks, your opponent
I think
loses a
it's,
life.
is it attacks or tap?
Oh, it's whenever it becomes tapped, because it could crew vehicles.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
now you can play
this one-
8 of these.
Yeah, well, this one obviously has some vampire synergy.
It's a vampire synergy as an extra toughness.
Extra
but-
toughness. So, I mean, yeah, for all, for the purposes of putting it in an attacking deck, it's essentially a 2/2 for 1, which is
Sure,
pretty good.
it's fine.
Doesn't look like a 2/2 for 1, but it plays that way sometimes.
Sure, I don't really have anything else to say about this card.
No.
No, I mean that's pretty much it. I just want
yeah,
to put
it's
it in there. I
important.
mean,
It's
it's
relevant.
just relevant for creature synergies,
Fair enough.
vampire synergies. Vraska's Contempt, is that the next one?
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
Vraska's Contempt is 2 black instant, exile target creature or planeswalker. You gain 2 life.
Hey, this is lazy design.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about
How
this
does
one.
Bastion's Contempt have anything to do with gaining life? Where? Like,
Yeah.
I hate you, but I feel more structurally sound. I feel
alive when I kill
I feel
you.
very alive. My vitality is going through the roof. Also, you're stone.
So, so it is nice that we have a way to just get planeswalkers off the board, and also killing something like a Hazoret
Yeah.
or Scarab God. Weird, we keep bringing those up, but they're just really hard to kill. 4 mana is a lot though, so you're not going to want to play too many of these. But I think if you're playing, a control style deck, you could definitely play a couple of these and not be too sad about it. But
Yeah, it
feels like a lot.
It feels like a lot, but it is a nice catch-all, and the 2 life at least helps make it feel like you didn't waste your whole turn. I
it's
guess
no hero's downfall.
it is not.
No, this card was like 4 mana exile, Hero's Downfall, and they're like, well, we have to do something else.
Yeah,
And they're like,
game
draw a
2.
card. Nope, too good. Target opponent loses 2 life. Nah, I don't like that either. Gain 2 life?
Yeah, them losing
Sure.
2 life would actually make more sense.
Correct.
because it's black.
That seems like a more contemptuous act. But no, gaining 2 life. Yep. You're dead. I feel more alive. Thank you.
So how do Vraska's like snakes work? Is this like she could turn them on?
She can turn them off essentially.
Oh, really? Okay.
She's got an on and off switch for stone.
So the old Gorgon effect there.
Yeah,
That's
Okay.
fair, yeah. It's
No, I'm
good.
just saying because the artwork is like he's just turning the guy to stone.
but she wants to turn them to stone.
But
Yeah,
she
she's
like
got-
talks to Jason. She's like, "All right, Jace, you're cool, I guess. Turn off the snakes."
Oh man, it makes the Ghostbuster pack start up noise.
Yeah.
All
All right.
right. Next we have Walk the Plank.
Yep.
It was a black for a sorcery, destroy target non-merfolk creature. And as we surmised when we first saw this card, this is sort of the premier removal spell from the set, which, based on how the format's going to look, makes me feel real sad. But I love the art on this. All the sharks and the person who's just kind
Yeah.
of like looking at the sharks, like, oh, please no.
Yeah. And sweet flavor text.
Why didn't we get any shark cards? Like Giant Shark is primed for a reprint.
I know, right?
No, I mean this is really straightforward. We'll have to wait to see if merfolk are a big enough thing for this to be
Yeah,
a downside.
I don't think they're going to be at this point in time one of the big decks that
Yeah,
sort of comes
that's
out. So I think this card actually will be fairly well played, and I should say widely played in your black focus decks, and
Fair.
it'll probably kill most everything that you want to. Again, not Hazoret, not Scarab God. Well, once. You can make him walk the plank once, but for some reason he just comes back.
Everyone cheers, yay! And then you see like,
He's just on the ship again, going, "What's up?"
he comes back out wearing his trunks, like, I haven't had a swim in forever.
And not on the water on Emma-Cat, turns out.
Man, I don't know. It's gonna
think
feel
you
real
have to
bad when
play
you're.
it.
It's gonna feel real bad when you're facing down like a Hydra. Right. Bristling Hydra.
Yeah.
They're
Oh
like-
yeah.
Yeah,
You'd be
but
like,
all removal
Or
spells
your
feel
opponent
bad.
In
attacks with
response-
Lordbringer and kills your guy, and
Yeah.
you get to untap and spend half of your turn killing it.
Yeah.
well,
cool.
all right.
Did it.
I don't know.
I'm not saying it's great. But
It's
it'll
it's a little
probably see play.
disappointing, but
What are you
it's
gonna
what
do?
we have. You know.
Yeah.
What you gotta do.
All right, second to last card in black, I believe.
Oh right, yeah.
Wanted Scoundrels. Colorless and a black. Human Pirate 4/3. When it dies, target opponent creates 2 colors treasure artifact tokens. Like all you need to know is just read the flavor text. Trust me, the reward's not worth it. They're just telling you right on the card, don't play this. It's not worth it.
I don't know. 4-power creature for 2 that is a pirate in that deck. I mean, it hits pretty hard. So yes, if it dies, they get to ramp up, and that's a big deal.
If they like
But-
upbraid this and then cast like anything, you just lose. Like,
Hey,
you're like,
it's
oh,
possible
cool.
it is not worth it, but I think a 4/3 for 2 in a relevant creature type is at least worth looking at.
Again, just play this with Metallic Mimic. It's a 5/4 at that point in time. No problems.
Trust me, I considered this for cube. I was like, oh man, 2 mana 4/3. So I'm like,
but
it's so
Cube, you have
bad.
a
Like
lot
if
of-
they just kill it,
You
they
have
just
a ton of premium removals.
Yeah,
They just essentially just, like,
Cubit's
get to kill it
bad,
for free.
Obviously.
like it's a Kinder egg. It's like, I must get the sweet treats within.
All right, now we're on the last.
All right,
card.
Argyll's Bloodfast. So generic and a black for a legendary enchantment. Pay a generic and a black. Pay 2 life. Draw a card. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you have 5 or less life, you may transform Argyll's Bloodfast, and it becomes Temple of Alclazats. Aclazats? It's probably Aclazats.
look at some weird. Everything has a Z in it.
So this is taps for a black, or you can tap it to sacrifice a creature, and you gain life equal to that sacrifice creature's toughness, which is what land?
Mirren the Moaning Well or Elephant Graveyard or something like that.
Yeah. So this one's interesting. The front side of this card is
Or High Market.
No, High Markets is you just gain 1.
Oh, okay.
Like Elephant Graveyard was
Power. Yeah.
the old school card from like
Toughness.
Arabian Nights.
Yeah.
So this is a sort of a mix of 2 cards. This is a lot like Greed, which is a
Yeah.
black enchantment from back
You
in
could
the
be
day.
real greedy to play this.
And then we had Erebos, who had this ability as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, it certainly is greedy to to do this. But there's probably decks that do want this effect. And of course, the backside of it, you can gain some of that life back. It is definitely a balancing act, though.
Yeah, I think this is gonna be
Remember,
more of
Erebos had Grey Merchant in the same deck, so you weren't too worried about it most of the time.
but it also had like a relevant ability of like they can't gain life.
For sure.
So this one, I think this is going to be more of a sideboard card. I don't like it as much as the other ones in this cycle, but I do think that it is playable in certain cases.
Yeah,
but
I think it's a pretty unique build. I do feel like the land on the back, I understand like you go down in life and you can gain that life back, but this is the one where the land on the back doesn't seem, I don't know, it doesn't make as much flavorful sense to me.
right. Like so, I picture this as being a card that like you would bring in against a control deck.
Yeah, for
Right.
sure.
It's like so it gives you ways to like draw extra cards and you're fine. But it's like when you flip it, the payoff doesn't really do anything against a control
No.
deck. You're like, oh, I guess I'll gain some life. I don't know how that's relevant. Though I guess like you could do it in response to removal spells.
For
or
sure,
whatever,
but yeah, I agree. It doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't seem to play the same way the other ones do, so.
I guess this one does say you may transform, so you don't have to. Though if you're at 5 or less, you can only activate it like 1 or 2 times. But I don't know. Like, yeah, I think this will be a card that I think if anywhere it'll see some sideboard play, just because it seems like so bad against the aggressive decks in the format
Right.
that you're not going to want to just risk playing that in the main deck. But we'll see. We'll see. This one, it's a little tough.
I don't appreciate the thing he's hallucinating. That's disturbing. Just like get real close on that. It's like a head with like bat ears and like tongues hanging out. I think I don't know what
nice.
to.
It's actually the head of a bat and the body of a coyote.
It's a bat yodi.
It says on the back that it's the temple of a bat god of night.
Yes.
So
So it's the enemy of the sun. It's Dayman and Nightman. Yes, this is what this is. I want you all to understand this.
Does it say anything about printing currency?
No,
in there? No.
nothing about that. So
Not in the artwork. They don't
jury's
have
still out on that.
After you take the blood tour, make sure you buy commemorative coins. We have them in the gift shop. You won't believe how round they are.
collect the whole set. We have Adanto, the First Fort, Azcanta, the Sunken Ruin. Each, one different one for each year.
Oh boy. So that is going to be the end. We're stopping at black, and that's going to be end of part 1 of the set review. So next week we're going to have red, green, and gold as being everything to kind of finish everything out. And those are ones that are packed full of stuff. So we'll have plenty of cards to talk about. So don't you worry.
Lots of dinosaurs.
Lots of dinosaurs. Many dinosaurs.
Maybe
wow.
even some pizza dinosaurs.
No pizza dinosaurs, unfortunately. Hey, everyone's disappointed by that. Watsy, no pizza dinosaurs. What's up? They deserve a chance to shine. Don't put them out in the sun; they'll go bad.
I'll love you if you put it on there. Olive's a pizza topping, so that's what I was trying to.
No, I get it. No, it's good. It's good. So that's gonna sum up for again part 1 of the set review. We'll be back next week with those colors. But until then, feel free to reach out to us via various ways of communicating. So whether it's Twitter, Facebook, or an email address. Pretty much most of the time you can do a search for @YourEndStep and we'll pop up, except for Twitter, because then we're just your end step. And then when you add us, it's @YourEndStep. It's very clever. Of course, check out our sponsors, BCW Supplies and Comic Town Gaming Center. Also, if you are listening to us via iTunes, feel free to leave us a review. Do appreciate that. Helps with our visibility and getting new listeners onto the show. And if you're listening to us via MTG Cast, check out some other Magic the Gathering podcasts. And of course, check out our Patreon.
Enter the contest.
Yeah, the contest is obviously ongoing, and like I said, you have technically, once you actually listen to this, less than a week to enter. We like to have quick turnaround time, so we get those prizes out to our fans, and we'll try to pick a couple winners. I want to give away a couple things this time, so you might have a good shot of winning, and feel free to also join our Patreon, because if you join our Patreon, you get some additional chances to win. So make sure you hop on that and get some awesome BCW supplies. But that is going to be everything for this week. We'll catch you guys next week, and you have a great one. Bye.